Now, here is a prime example of when the left just don't quite understand that the world has in fact changed, because thousands have marched against Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. ahead of the inauguration. And I've got to say, with a complete lack of enthusiasm, this so-called People's March featured people dressed as characters from The Handmaid's Tale, and others were carrying signs saying RIP USA. Adam, these people clearly believe what the Democrats told them, that Trump is an evil monster who will destroy the United States. But of course, just a week ago, we saw Obama laughing and joking with Trump. But the Democrats have had a lot to answer for in the way that they played on people's fears. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, it's no shock that there's going to be a histrionic march in D.C., in response to him being elected. But at the end of the day, I think what we're seeing, like you mentioned, Barack Obama sitting down with him, I think a lot of people are realizing that the division is much more manufactured than it was authentic. There are always going to be activists. Activists have to have some sort of job, right? But at the end of the day, I think the American public feel more represented today than they did yesterday. And so I think that we're moving past the point of being fear-mongered. I'm seeing a lot of, even where I live at is, a blue area. I'm seeing a lot more people who are open about, yeah, I voted for Trump. We're in Trump paraphernalia, which is something I never saw, 6 or so years ago. So I think we're moving past the partisan politics just a bit. And I think a lot of people are realizing, especially coming from Democrat side, that it's a failing strategy to go all in on identity politics and claiming he's a racist and all this other stuff. At some point, it just falls flat.
It's absolutely falling flat very, very, very quickly. The man is going to be president. It is what it is. Now, let's talk about the guest list for the inauguration. Adam, who can we expect to see and not to see?
I mean, you can expect to see Barack Obama. I believe Hillary Clinton's going to be there. Elon Musk. But the one actually that doesn't surprise me, but I think is very interesting and just shows the progress that we've been making, is Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is going to be there. And he's expressed interest in working with Donald Trump. Mark Zuckerberg will also be there. He's expressed interest in working with the Trump administration. So I think we're at a new day. And just by the people who are willing to show up and be present, obviously Nancy Pelosi is not going to be there, which doesn't shock me. But I think a lot of names from the Democrat side, from the Republican side, and basically people who are relatively in the middle, they're willing to give him a shot this time around more so than last time, and they're going to show face.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, but I do agree. It's fascinating that all these billionaires are suddenly coming out for Donald Trump, having previously criticised him. But I think that they've realised that the tide has indeed turned. So it's an interesting point. Now, look, in the dying days of his presidency, Joe Biden's approval rating has plummeted. Even CNN, the liberal network, has described his ratings as historically awful. Have a look.
A good or great president at the end of their terms. Well, Barack Obama, 52% of Americans thought he was a good or great president at the end of his presidency, 2017. Donald Trump, very much behind Barack Obama at 36%. But look at how low Joe Biden is. My goodness gracious, you can't really get lower than 25%.
Oh, Adam, no surprises. It's bad. What legacy does Joe Biden leave behind?
Unfortunately, a terrible legacy that didn't need to happen. I mean, Joe Biden ended up in this position because it was manufactured interest. It was the Democrat establishment propped him out of basically retirement and said, you need to be the guy. When they ran him in the primaries, he won one primary, everybody dropped out, making it give the appearance that he's popular and people want him. And what did we end up with? A guy, who I'm somewhat empathetic for, he's aging badly. And it had to come to a point where on the debate stage, everyone saw what we've been saying from the very beginning. I know I was a Democrat at the time. I saw it from the very beginning. He was belligerent, arguing with people. He was forgetting things. And this was the man that they thought could lead this nation. So I think you reap what you sow. And that's why the Democrats got smashed this time around.
Absolutely. Well, they should have gotten rid of him years ago, but we certainly know that. Now, look, Vice President Kamala Harris has given, unfortunately, one last word salad. Please show us.
And our work is not done. And as you all know me, because we have spent long hours, long days, and months and years together, it is not my nature to go quietly into the night. So don't worry about that.
Oh, gee, Adam, it would actually be great if she could go quietly into the night to spare us from these word salads and nonsense.
Yeah, all I can say is if Californians vote for her, they deserve her. I mean, that's the least that they deserve. If they believe that this woman is capable of leading, basically, a massive economy in California with all the different problems that they're having just now with the fires, dealing with all different types of economic issues that are there, a massive budget. If they think that she could be someone who could lead, whether she runs for governor or some other position, I mean, they absolutely deserve her. It's one thing to send her to D.C. and have, D.C. deal with her. It's another thing to lead a state. So I don't know what position she thinks she's going to run for and when, but good luck to you.
Yeah, look, all the very best to Kamala. We certainly won't miss you. And farewell to that whole administration. And cannot wait for January 20, almost time now. Adam B. Coleman, nice to catch up with you. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this evening.